you are here to finally see the first episode in the 1988 Forgotten Album series. Now, this is the first one, obviously, for 1988. We've been hammering out the 1990s, the 1991, 1992, because there's plenty of parts, and rightfully so, because there's a lot of great albums and forgotten albums of that year, those years. And now we're finally going to be starting to hit a little bit more of the later 80s stuff now. So we are going to be doing 1988 today. And if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. I'm Trevor Krash Knight. You were watching the Crash Course Metal Show, and I got 3 forgotten albums for you here for 1988. And let's just jump into it right now.
What up, maniacs? Hey, it's DK Ravella from the band Kickin' Valentina. You're watching the Crash Course Metal Show.
So our first one here is from a little band from Chicago. They first technically were Diamond Rexx, and then a couple of the guys left Diamond Rexx and formed Demal's. So now this is Demal's first album, debut album. They only had 2 of the original run anyway, with Demal's self-titled here, and then they did do Warped in 1990. So, but as far as this album goes, it's a lot of people that talk about this album like to say that the image did not kind of match with what they looked like, and that always kind of makes me question a little bit. Like I kind of find that strange, the comparison, because like sure they are very glammed up, maybe like a New York Dolls kind of feel to them, but at the same time, this is like 1988. This is kind of what everyone was looking like, and the sound, now, yes, it doesn't sound like Poison, but it doesn't sound like something totally out in left field of what you would expect from seeing a cover or the band like this. So that kind of makes, I kind of get lost when people say those kind of things. But as far as the music goes, this album, though, did not go platinum. It didn't certify. It 777 was the single off of this album and music video, which is an absolutely amazing song. I absolutely love that song. That is the reason why I bought this album, because I'm like, I know this song's only like 2.5 minutes long, but I just love like the chant in it, the chorus. It's just basically like a vocal chant with a drum beat, and it does have a good guitar solo in it, but that's basically all we got here. But it's just like that the whole way through. And just very, very entertaining and just a little different at the time, but still in that hair metal feel to it. So like, I don't know, there's nothing really crazy different. Even with like a lot of the other songs, you got 11 tracks here. All I Want is really good, the opening track. You know, you got the final track on track 11 here, Action. I really dig that song. Now, I will say this is not my favorite albums by any means, you know, because like I do have Diamond Rexx stuff like SS Priest, the guitar player, which recently he did just pass away. So rest in peace, SS Priest. Good player, you know, and you know a lot of people loved him and stuff. But you know, it's just a shame because like we're starting to see this happen more and more now because obviously this stuff was 30 years ago or more, you know, and I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but that is eventually what it's going to eventually all be, sadly. But until then, enjoy the music. And even after the life, you know, enjoy the music. You know, that it's here for a lifetime. It's here forever now, you know, with technology, you know, CDs and digital and cassettes. Yes, they might not hold up the best cassettes and records, but it will always be here now forever. It's not going to be lost to time like 500 years ago, you know. So, all right, what another song I do really like is the Stroll. I do like that, but you know, I kind of can understand maybe why it didn't certify, because like I don't really hear that single, I would say, other than 777, but that's not your typical single, as badass of a song that it is. Just to your normal listener that is just listening to the radio, that doesn't really listen or want anything like kind of a little different, I can understand why they would be like, I'm not gonna pick up the album just based on that song. But me, when I heard that motherfucker, that was like an earworm in my ear until I bought this record and had to play that song. Like that song is on a lot of playlists, on different kind of playlist on my iPod, like the workout playlist, the party playlist, weekend playlist. Like it's there. It's just a great song for anything. It's just awesome. So, but yeah, like I said, though, guys, I can kind of understand why it didn't, but it doesn't mean it should be forgotten at the slightest. It should not be forgotten. And then because SS Priest did come over from Diamond Rex, like I said, and they did the album Land of the Damned. I was gonna grab it. I got it on cassette. I don't have it on CD or vinyl, but I got it on cassette back here in my cassette case, if you can see that behind me. But and that's a good album. But I don't know what I would choose between the two. The debut here or Land of the Damned. Might have to do a future video on the two. But as of now, though, guys, please check out 777. Absolutely great song. One of my possibly a top 50 hair metal song in general for me. And also Action's pretty a fun song there as well. Yeah, just good guitar solos. Just I don't understand why people say the image doesn't match the sound. It's not like it's King of the Hill, the band King of the Hill, or even like Bang Tango. I would argue has a little bit more of a different sound than say what they look like. So I mean that's could be a discussion for another time. But as of now though, guys, check out the Mall's 1988 debut. I think you'll find some stuff on there that you'll really enjoy. All right, so our second choice here, I will say you might be like, wow, how is this a forgotten album? Because it did go platinum and it did sell about 3 million copies worldwide. But I kind of have a thought here, and that is going to be Europe's 1988's Out of This World. Now, this is their fourth output here from the band Europe, and coming off of what you can see behind me, The Final Countdown from 1986. Obviously, that album blew up. Everyone knows like at least 2 or 3 songs off that album. All the hits blew up, or all the singles blew up, and absolutely crazy of an album. Now, I will say, I don't care for it as much as a lot of people do. I honestly would take Out of This World, to be completely honest with you, because like Europe's just not one of my favorite bands. I like them, but they're not a band that I'm going to go out and just buy all their stuff. Just the whatever. If I come across at a decent price, sure, yes, I'll get it. But I am not like they're not a top 40, 50 hair band for me. But they are talented. They are good. I enjoy stuff that they do. Even today, they're doing new stuff, like modern stuff that is good, So definitely. And the reason why I chose this album, though, to put on the forgotten album list, it did go platinum, yes. But when I talk to people, when I talk to Europe, people that know Europe, they don't really talk about this album. This is like one that just does not get talked about in like hair metal circles in groups. Like I said, even some Europe fans are kind of like, they're not really a fan of this album or just don't know it. But I know a couple of people that do know it, do really enjoy it, and rightfully so. So, like I said, it did have 4 singles on this album here. Obviously, the first one was Superstitious. That's an awesome song. I love Joey kind of does like a gospel kind of it kind of has like a gospel feel, like vocal to it, and like the background and stuff, and just even Joey does a great job on this or on the album, but on this song, I can listen to the song. I can put it on repeat for a little while, and I hate doing that with songs. Like I just absolutely hate listening to the same shit over and over again. But I will say, I really enjoy this Superstitious. So it's just a great sing-along type song. Just makes you feel great. Just a very uplifting, upbeat song. Then you got the second track here, Let the Good Times Rock. Really good. And that which is another single. And then you got Open Your Heart and More Than Meets the Eye as the other 2 singles. So you did have 4 singles off this album, but As far as traction goes, yes. I mean, any band would take what they got on this album. Any band would have took the success of this album. But when you're coming off a multi-platinum album that made you one of the biggest bands in the era of the 80s of hair metal, people consider it a flop. And I think it's the furthest thing from a flop music wise, album wise. Yes, sales. Okay, yes, we can argue that, yeah, that's it, it was a flop based on that. But to me, this is just a very good album all the way through. Because you got different people. Even like Martin Popoff doesn't like this album. He just does not have much good to say about this album. But there are people that do like it as well. So it's very, because I know Martin, he prefers Final Countdown. I would over, over Out of This World, and I am the complete opposite. I I do not need to hear like hardly anything off of the Final Countdown ever again. Sure, there's some songs like Rock the Night I can get into like still, but I'll take this 9.5 times out of 10 over the Final Countdown, no doubt. So as far as some like other songs on here that are just really good, you got Ready or Not, Sign of the Times is pretty cool. Lights and Shadow, I do dig that a lot. Towers Calling's different. I can dig it. And one of the singles, "Let the Good Times Rock," is a good song too. I like this album. It's not one that I always visit, but because I just don't visit Europe that much. But when I do listen to it, I'm like, God, this is just a really good album. Like because when I listen to the Final Countdown, I'm like, it's good, but give me give me Out of This World. Not like I said, 9.5 times out of 10. I'll take Out of This World over the Final Countdown.
That's right. I said it. I meant it. I'm here to represent it.
But I don't want to compare the two because that's not really what we're here to do. But just trying to give you guys some context on like why or where I think my headspace is with why Out of This World just did not do anything. And then some people like to credit like the tour, it was kind of messed up too. That might have hurt because they were supposed to go out with Def Leppard, and that didn't really happen. And obviously, Def Leppard was on one of the biggest albums of all time, Torn, with Hysteria. So there's that. It could have possibly went multi platinum in America if they would have toured it with the right band, so like Def Leppard. So definitely, I don't think that would hurt any band going on tour with them at that time, especially that year. So yeah, there's different stuff on here that I really enjoy. That I think is positive for Europe, and it's not just your normal. Sure, it probably is the same production as the Final Countdown, which I don't think I have an issue with the production with Europe in general, and just the Final Countdown or this album. Sure, it's clean. You could even argue overproduced, but I think it works. I'm cool with it. There's other things I don't like before the production, so I'm not gonna. It doesn't bother me. So definitely, guys, check Out of This World. If the only thing like me, before this album was the Final Countdown, certainly check out their other stuff too. The earlier stuff is a little bit harder, a little bit more bare bones, if you will, not so glossy. And then even the album after this is pretty good. So don't let the Final Countdown be the only sample size that you have of Europe, and because you'll be doing yourself a disservice. And I 100% back that claim. So check out, guys, Out of This World from Europe. I don't think you'll be disappointed. All right, guys, for our third choice here and final choice for 1988 in this video, it is going to be Rock City Angels with Young Man's Blues. Now, this album does hold a little bit of a special place in my heart because I found it when I was in high school, and I was absolutely like, this shit's awesome, because like I was starting to find out like blues was a big part of, well, just metal in general, but like of the hair metal kind of thing going on, especially like in the early 90s, late 80s. And Rock City Angels was one of those bands that was showing me the evidence of that. And now, yes, this is the Rock City Angels that Johnny Depp, yes, that Johnny Depp was in for a cup of coffee with, basically for like 1 year.
What?
Till like 1987, and then obviously he went and did an acting career. So then they had to replace him, and they eventually settled on this band. And certainly, Bobby is the vocalist here, and he has a distinct voice, kind of, like a Spike choir voice, but not quite the same. It's a little raspy, but it's a little bit more of a deeper, not growl, but a little bit of a deeper tone, if you will. So and it's certainly, it's not necessarily sleazy either, because it's very heavily blues influenced. They do like one or two blues cover, like actual blues cover songs on here, which is good. And I just think it's a little bit of a different animal, in 1988. I like it though a lot. Now I will say, over time, it has not gotten worse, but it hasn't gotten better though either. So it's staying around the same for me. You got to be a fan of the blues, because like they are very heavily blues, and it's not always electric blues either. It's a certain, and another thing too, I think about when I think about this album, is that there's 15 tracks on it, even for 1988. Like, yeah, CDs were starting to come out at that time, so like bands were putting more songs on. But in their defense, the songs aren't as long as like a traditional song. Some of them, anyway. Because like you do have a couple 4-minute ones and stuff like that. But generally speaking, like there are some on the shorter side of things. So that's kind of why you end up getting a 15 track album here. But it's absolutely crazy for vinyl, because you got not 4 sides, but you got two records here in this. And to me, that drives me crazy. But so I always break, because I have it on CD over here too. So I always break out the CD or just iPod, obviously. But but when I seen this at the record expo like 6-7 years ago, I was like, I like this album so much, I'm just gonna pick it up. And it was a decent price too. So I thought, when's the next time you're gonna see a fucking Rock City Angels on vinyl original too? So yeah, I was like, we're getting this. But no, it does have that Memphis blues sound.
Okay, fellas, let's try one with that Memphis sound. Deep inside my heart, take one.
A little bit to it. So, like I said, it's very heavily bluesed feel, but it's different. I don't know who I would really compare them to. I don't want to say necessarily Graveyard Train I would compare them to, because like Graveyard Train does have a little bit more punch to their songs, I would say, or the album in general. So it's a good mix though, like, because I'm a big fan of like 1800 1900 blues, like real old shit, all the way up until like now. So like it really does feel like they're really pulling into that, but just making it for 1988. So really cool. They had a single off of here, music video, Deep Inside My Heart, which is the first track. When I first seen that, it's only 2.5 minutes long, so it's quick and to the point and very cool. And when I first seen that, man, I'm like, I gotta get this CD. I gotta get it, man. Like this track is awesome, and it probably is the best track, to be completely honest with you. But there's other ones though too. Mary is really good. The second track, Hard to Hold, really good. There's also Liza Joe, is I guess what you would say the ballad on the album, because there ain't really a ballad, but I would say that would probably be the closest thing for a ballad. But Damn Don't Cry is good. Wild Tiger, These Arms of Mine is the cover that they did. But yeah, I think it's certainly, especially if you're a blues fan, this should not be forgotten. This should be known of, by blues rock, hard rock, blues metal fans. And I think some people just would give it a shot just because if they like Johnny Depp, they'll be like, oh shit, this was his band, before he went and did, acting career. So it's interesting though. Nonetheless, I don't think it should be forgotten. Very good album. It's one that like I said, I don't visit it as much anymore, but when I do, or when I hear something off of it, I'm like, okay, yeah, dude, these mothers are doing it, like blues wise, especially when I'm in a blues phase. This won't the the only thing I will say, maybe the production is a bit lacking. Maybe that's what it is. Like over time, but it has a raw feel though to it too. So I don't know if it's necessarily the production. It just might be way too many tracks, and some of them do kind of end up sounding the same when you got so many tracks like that, and you're kind of just in a certain sound, if you will. Maybe that's what it is. But nonetheless, I'm happy to have it in my collection, vinyl and CD. I'm happy to have it, and it doesn't get forgotten in my neck of the woods here in my house. So definitely, guys, check it out if you guys are into that blues, rock, and metal type deal. But yeah, that's gonna be our last one here, guys. Check out Rock City Angels, and then check out obviously Deep Inside My Heart or Liza Joe. Those two tracks are probably the two most well known. So I would throw them at you and just see what you think. And if you don't like those, and you might not like anything else on the album, but try those two out first. So, guys, Young Man's Blues, Rock City Angels is one of our choices here. We also had Europe, Out of This World from 1988. And then we also had Demoz with their self-titled debut album. And shout out again to SS Priest for passing on. Just sucks. Rest in peace, bud. So, guys, let us know in the comments.
Talk to me.
What you guys think of these three albums, and what other albums from 1988 do you think are kind of forgotten here? So I always like enjoying what you guys have to say, and definitely. But yes, guys, definitely check out our live streams. We've been doing live streams here lately, and on Friday nights. So come hang out with us. Party with us first and foremost. Grab a drink, grab a snack, hang out, ask questions, and just add to the community and atmosphere, and just have a party, hang out with us. That's all we want to do at the end of the day, is have fun and just talk great music. So, guys, until next time, stay out of that collateral damage. Thank you for watching the Crash Course Metal Show. And if you guys enjoyed this 1988 Forgotten Album series, check out another one of the Album Forgotten series right here.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.